Hi, it's Bakermat, and to celebrate me releasing my Gatluak remix 3 years ago exactly, I made a little how I made it of this tune, of this remix, for you to see how I work and how I build up my projects. So let's dive into it. Here we have the project file for the Gatluak remix. The original tune was a tune by Watch, and I think Emmanuel Gel was also part of it. They released it way back. And Kronan, who is a producer signed to my label Big Top Amsterdam, found this song and asked them to make his own version of it. Then I heard the original of Kronan and I said, wow, this is really up my lane. I would love to give it a go and remix this tune, so I did. Let's start with the vocal, just a cappella. Let's have a listen. I start filtered. It's actually a 1-knob filter. I don't use that series anymore, but I used to do that back then. So let's listen to the vocal just by itself. What I usually do when I start with these projects is I get this vocal or I get this melody or a saxophone line and I start building chords around it. So for this one, you see that I have very straightforward chords here. Very easy, very simple, but for me, they fit the vocal perfectly. We have that together. It sounds like this. And then it kind of builds up with this little part here. Just remaining on one chord, go into this same chords, but then rhythmically played, and I play a little bit with stepping from one chord to the other, as you can hear. When I heard these two together, just the piano, just the vocal, I was already very enthusiastic because I thought this is going to be a good track because the basis of the track is good. The piano matches the vocal and it has a lot of energy on itself already. I really didn't add that much to it because it's this piano, it's the vocal. Then I have a very simple bass line that comes in at the second part of the break. It's a very simple, very deep, very simple bass in a stock sound of Ableton, B bass called, and just following the chord progression here, melody-wise. I always like to stack my piano with synths or other sounds to make them richer, to make them more special. So here I added high piano, it's called, and I think it's just, yeah, it's a just a very high frequency piano. Then we have these, like, I think these are the same synth, just one is panned to the left and the other one's panned to the right to give a little bit of a stereo image. Let me just play them all together with the piano, and I'll add the bass as well. This is just a break, because when we're going to the drop, the piano is going to be the same, but the bass is also going to be the same on this one, but I added another one right here. And it's called hard bass. And I think this is just one of the presets of Serum analog saw. I mostly drop saw bass on drops. Like, I like to have a very soft and very clean bass on breaks or build-ups, and when it's drop time, I really like something that has an edge and that has a lot of power. In the end, it sounds like this. Drums are actually super simple in this project. This is a simple crash that you will see in any project. And I layered it with another one and added a down sweep as well that is a bit longer to kind of keep it going. And this is all on the drop. Here I have a little drum loop that is, it's called a top loop. This is from a sample pack from Umek, which is a great producer, and he has a great sample pack with a lot of top loops. Very funky, very swingy hats. I added a kick drum, obviously, to that because it's a house record and you need a big kick. This kick, let me see, how did I get it? It's from a Vengeance house pack that is very old. It has some of the most amazing kicks still. Then I have a clap that I added to it, And the clap is a clap that I made myself like 7 years ago. I just decided to record a bunch of claps, stack them all, and like try to get a nice attack, try to get a nice release. And this clap is actually, it's featured in so many songs, like Living Baby, like all of the songs have this clap in them somewhere, because it's just a very, I think a very nice clap that really has the perfect attack and the perfect release for me. Well, it's still a little bit soft as well, and that's what I like, because you can still layer it with snares and everything. We have another top loop here that we add, which is more of a hat loop that I cut up a little bit. And then in the end we have shakers, and that's very, I have this in a lot of productions as well. I like shakers because they give a little extra touch. So those are the drums. Let me just add the piano now. Soft bass. Then we have the extra high piano and the synths on top. As you can hear, the high piano makes a lot of difference because it really adds to the kind of happiness of the sound. And we have the hard bass for the edgy, powerful sound underneath. And the second break, I wanted to do something a little surprising because I didn't want the song to become too predictable. So I decided to go for a little breakdown, filter it all out, start building it up again, and of course adding some saxophone to it, which I really like to do, as you might know if you know my music. So we have the break. There's a little detail in the break here. You barely hear it, but it's very important to keep things going. As I'm filtering the piano out, things can get quite silent, and this is a high string that kind of keeps it going, keeps it together. As I said, you barely hear it, but it does a very important job of keeping it together. And it's time for the saxophone. I have the saxophone right here, and this is how I usually work. This is how I usually do my saxophone parts. I don't play the saxophone or any instrument, so I have to do it like this to get the melodies that I have in my head. Basically how it works is I get a sample that is already there, I cut it up, and I cut it into all the kind of little pieces that the saxophone player played. This sample I pitched -13. That means 13 semitones down. The original sounds like this. If you go 13 semitones down. And that same goes for the second one. And I pitched it to 4. So we have the first two notes. This one is pitched down -13. This one's pitched down -4. We have one pitched -1. And this goes on until I kind of create my own melody that I like best. Adding a lot of reverb and delay to it seems like it's just played by a dude that plays the saxophone. And this works for me, and I think like a lot of people have no idea that I work like this, but that's how I make all the saxophones in my music, mostly. So let's listen to it on the piano. As you can hear, I have the simple chords again, then the rhythmic chords coming in, and then full out with the high piano and synth on it to give it that really euphoric feel. This is a funny thing. I always add this tag. Most of my tracks, there's a tag hidden somewhere. This one's hidden here. And it kind of builds, like, it helps build the track up. And I think it's really funny. This is something I really like to do. Have a fill-in right before the drop. It just adds to the energy. And it's just a nice way of introducing, like, hey, the drop is coming and get ready to jump. I was really happy to see that the saxophone melody and the Gatluak vocals worked really well together, because I like to The second drop, I like to just put everything, stack everything on each other, just to give it a really big feeling of having all the melodies combined. And it just really worked out here, so I'm very happy with that. Then we go to part B of the drop, and I thought I need something to end the song with. I need a new element. What I did is what's it called, a sampler. I dragged the Gatluak vocal into it. I chopped it up into little pieces right here, and I started playing around, finding a melody. So here you have that. So I made a little melody with that to end the song with, and to keep things interesting at the end. And then back to the original. Gotta watch it. So in the music, it sounds like this. So that's how I did it. That's how I made the Gatluak remix. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more of this stuff, I can do it on other songs as well. Leave a comment. Tell me like what track you would like me to do this as well. Or leave some feedback if you like this. So thank you for watching. And bye-bye. It's a wrap!